Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com, and I'm excited to share with you my outside the box ideas that I created with the From the North Pole November 2022 paper pumpkin kit from Stampin' Up. These kits are delivered to me each month and contain everything that I need to make fun, creative paper crafting cards and projects. This November kit contains supplies for making 12 festive Christmas tags, 4 of 3 different designs. Like each kit, I've got my publication with directions, full color illustrations, details about the kit, and a link to a how-to video so I can assemble the cards or projects as shown. I've also got stamps and ink that can be used again and again even after the other kit supplies are used up. This November kit included a cherry cobbler ink pad and this exclusive stamp set. The kits are a Stampin' Up! Product, so the colors, images, and supplies always coordinate with many other Stampin' Up! Products. I'll be using some of these in the alternate projects I create for you today. You can find the items I used listed below and linked to my online store. You can also find links for learning more about paper pumpkin kits, starting your subscription through me so I can spoil you with exclusive gifts, ideas, and prizes, joining my Paper Pumpkin fan club on Facebook where you can see even more alternate project ideas shared daily, and if you're watching my video on YouTube, you can find a link for my website where I've shared photos of the projects that you're going to see today. I received a large clear block in my first paper pumpkin kit to use with all my future stamps. That tool and my scissors are all that I'll need for completing my kits as is. But you'll notice that I substitute that block for the ergonomic Stampin' Up! Blocks. I also use the larger version of the ink pad and some additional adhesive, such as my Stamp and Seal. You won't need these, but they are available products from Stampin' Up! And they're a bit easier and quicker for me to use while I demonstrate in my video. By the way, if you're looking for ideas for past kits, visit my website at stampyourartout.com. Click on Paper Pumpkin in the top menu, then choose Recent or Older Posts. I've been creating and sharing alternates since March of 2013 when Paper Pumpkin first began. I am very excited to create with you today, so let's get started. These tags are just gorgeous, the ones that you make with this kit. They coordinate also with last month's October kit, the Ho 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 kit. So if you got that one, you can combine and mix and match and create lots of different things using both kits. These are the pieces that you need to make the 3 different sets of tags. So there's this times 4, this times 4, and this times 4. Plus you also have an additional set of these 4 tags, and you have one of each of these items here. Now, there's even more. If you think about the scraps that you get from your pieces when you punch them out, so like this piece here is, the sheet that the little glittery snowflakes came out of. So you can trim off the edges from these sheets and you can have extra little strips of fun decoration. This is also a great sheet, kind of like a specialty paper. It's iridescent from these snowflakes, so you could use that as well. Well, what I did is I didn't use these, and I didn't use the extras that I just had one of, but I brought in these tags and I brought in some strips from these sheets, and I took a long one and a short one and I mixed them all up and I redistributed them to make 9 cards from these 3 tags. So I tripled what you can get out of the kit, turning tags into Christmas cards, because a lot of people love to make lots of Christmas cards, right? Now, if you love the tags, make them as is. That's what I'm going to do with one of my sets because I just think that they're gorgeous. But if you want to make your kit stretch, then let's go ahead and create those 9 cards. These are the basic supplies that you'll need, along with some tools like a trimmer and stuff like that, in order to make the 12 tags turn into 36 cards. So, white envelopes, basic black cardstock, crumb cake cardstock, and then I'm also bringing in some black tuxedo black memento ink. This here hopefully is a good visual for you. I messed up on the number down here. So you're going to need 10 sheets of basic black, 8 sheets of crumb cake. Now you can get 2 cards from 1 sheet. So 18 times 2 is 36 cards. These are for the card bases. Then for the inside layers, because you're going to have basic black on some of your cards and you don't want to open it up and have a black piece of cardstock on there, it's hard to write on, right? So you need to make a little inside layer, and you can get 4 inside layers from 1 sheet. So you're going to need 5 more sheets of like either crumb cake, or if you want to use white or any other color or whatever. So 5 more sheets of the crumb cake. 5 times 4 will give you 20 inserts. And remember, we're making 20 basic black cards. Okay, now from the kit, if we look again, just a little math at the beginning here. Sorry, you guys. So we're going to take 1 of each of these tags, the supplies for 1 of each. And you can see we can make 4 of each of them, but we're only going to do 1. And we're going to turn those 3 tags into 9 cards. We're tripling the kit. So you're going to take whatever I create in this video and you're going to do it 4 times. Okay, if you want to turn all of your cards into, or all of your tags into cards. Let's go ahead and start cutting our basic black cardstock. We're going to score halfway through the 8.5 direction at 4 1/4, and then we're going to turn and we're going to cut. We're going to do another one like that, but this time we're going to score in this direction, halfway through at 5 1/2. And then turn it in this direction and cut. And this gives you the 2 different directions of card bases that, when folded, will come to the same exact size. It's just that, you know, you can create them 2 different ways. Then we're going to do that with the crumb cake cardstock also. So 36 divided by 4, because we're only doing 1 set of the 4, gives us 9. We have 8 card bases so far. 2, 4, 6, 8. The 9th one is an additional black one, so I'm going to cut that and we'll be ready to go. I'm now going to bring in my bone folder and give everything a good crease. I'm going to check the bottoms of the cards here. These two layers come together pretty evenly here at the bottom, but sometimes you get a card base where you can see both edges on one side and not on the other. The side that you can't see both bottom edges on, that's going to be your front. Now there are some cards, there are 3 of them that I've created, that have an extra little layer on the top using the basic black. And for all 36 cards, you would need just over 1 full sheet of basic black for that. So we're going to change this to say 12 sheets. And remember our 5 extra sheets down here, so we're going to change that to say 13. So altogether for your 36 cards, 12 sheets of basic black, 13 of crumb cake. So let's go ahead and cut those extra layers. We're going to cut this to 5 1/2 inches here. Now you would do each of these things times 4 if you're going to do this with all your cards. We're going to take this layer here, which measures 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and we're going to cut it in half at 2 1/8 inches. This is going to become 1 layer. This one, obviously, you can use the rest of this for your other 4 cards, but we're going to cut these down too, just because we're going to use 1 sheet for all of the ones I'm making now. So this next one is going to be 4 inches by 2 1/2. So we're going to cut here at 2 1/2, rotate it, and cut off that extra 1/4 of an inch. So now we have another layer. And then our last one is just going to be 4 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. So we just need a strip that's going to go across the front of the card. So 4 1/4, which I think it's a little long here. There we go. 4 1/4 by 3/4. So let's make 2 cards. They're both using similar pieces. We're going to be using the scrap edges from the glitter paper. We're going to be using this snowflake, the 4U. Oops, not that one. And then we're going to trim this piece so we can get 3 pieces out of it. We're going to bring the flat edge to the 3-inch mark, and we're going to trim, save that for another card. Then we're going to bring this to the 3/4 inch mark here, or on this side it's 2 1/4 inches. And we're going to trim, And this piece will be used on one of these two cards, and this will be saved for later. We're going to grab this piece and we're going to stamp the word joy with our stamp set. I had to bring in my grid paper, realizing that we are stamping now, protect my work surface. So we're going to ink up our joy stamp, and we're going to stamp that right in the middle of this piece here. We're also going to bring that trimmer back because I forgot to cut our snowflake in half, which you could do with the scissors, but your trimmer is going to give you a definite straight cut. We're just going to go corner to corner, keep it flat in there, and slice. You'll want to make sure that your blade is very sharp on your trimmer in order to do that. You don't want to jam your snowflake. Okay, now we're going to grab these two pieces that fold this way, which some people call the hamburger way. This is called the hot dog way because it's longer when you open it up. And then we're going to grab these two. And for this one, we're going to attach the long edge of glitter paper. So we're going to flip it over. We're going to grab our seal adhesive, and we're going to go, oops, really close to an edge, a long edge. And then we'll pick it up by just laying it right next to it. And you can, depending on how thick your glitter paper is, you can have it wider or you can have it less. It's up to you. Once that's attached, you'll take your snips and you'll trim off the excess. And we'll do the same thing on this one. Go really close to the edge. Pick this up the best we can. It's a very narrow piece. Trim off the excess. And then what we'll do is we'll take and we'll just go right back over the top of these with adhesive again, making sure that you're going over the top of the glitter paper. That will help the glitter paper to stay secure onto your card front. Okay, we'll grab one of the card fronts or card bases. I'm turning it in this direction because it's going to be easier for me to attach, and I'm just going to flip it this way with the glitter edge towards the opening part of the card. I'm going about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge, and I'm looking at the top and bottom edges of the black paper here, pressing that down. Oops, see, it's so thin. That's why you want to make sure you have adhesive on that. And then this piece, which got shifted on me because I moved it accidentally, is going to get placed in the middle of this one. And we're going to have to really make sure that it's not going to move on us here. Hang on. There we go. Okay, we have the fronts of those two cards. These snowflakes you can add with the glue dots that come in your kit, but for quickness, I'm going to take my multi-purpose liquid glue, which I've transferred into this really fine tip bottle. It's a precision applicator, glue applicator, and you can get them by going to my website at stampyourartout.com and clicking on shop and choose my favorite extras, and you can find links to products that aren't Stampin' Up! But that I love and highly recommend. This snowflake is going to get attached here, and this one will get attached down here. Fun, right? Then we just have our sentiment pieces to add, and we're going to put those on with dimensionals. You get little mini dimensionals in your kit, but you may run out of them, and you may want to invest in larger size dimensionals. I have my sheet here is running out of those larger size dimensionals, but you can get ones that are bigger than the ones that just come in the kit. You can also get these mini dimensionals if you really love them and you want to get additional ones, or just keep subscribing to Paper Pumpkin, because eventually you're going to have so much adhesive you won't know what to do with all of it. All right, so this for you is just going to get attached here, and the joy is going to get attached here. On the inside, if you wanted to add a colored layer, you could, or a white layer, but you are able to write in there. You can also use the stamps from the kit to decorate, add some extra little phrases on the inside. But there are 2 Christmas cards ready to go. For the next 2 cards, you're going to need to bring in the twine, and we'll need 8 inches times 2. One for each of the cards. We're going to trim these 2 pieces here. So we have the glitter tag and we have the stripe tag, and then we have the one that we cut into 2 pieces. Candy cane, this green little doodad. So let's bring in the trimmer. We're going to trim off 1/4 inch from the bottom of this tag. I'm using the 1/4 inch measurement on this side of my trimmer. And we're actually going to cut that into 2 pieces, but we won't do so yet. And on this one, we're just going to trim off a little bit from the bottom. I think I'm going, you know what, let's just go over here so you can know the measurement. You're going to need a little bit to attach, so let's go ahead and cut at the 3.5 inch mark on this side. So this will make it look as if our tag is longer because we're going to stretch this out. On this one, let's grab our Ho 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 stamp. Grab the D-size block, and we're going to ink it up in the tuxedo black. And stamp that down. See the little hole here? We're going to stamp it to the right side about 1/4 inch away. Let's ink that up one more time in case it dried a little bit. Okay, and then the candy cane is going to be able to cover up that little hole. So we're going to add the candy cane there, but we're going to add the candy cane after it has been tied with one of these pieces of twine. And tie your little bow. And if you have to do a knot beforehand instead of just an overhand wrap or whatever, you could do that. However you want to do it so that you can tie your bow onto the candy cane. You could also tie it separately and just stick it on with a glue dot, which is what I'm going to do on the second card. So I'm going to go ahead and just take and do a little bow here, and that will be added to my second card with a glue dot. All right, let's bring in the card base that's long, hot dog style, right? And we're going to add this tag up towards the top. It does have a little hole at the top, so we're going to go ahead and take that out. I'm going a little over 1/4 inch from, oops, this one's going to go on the other card base. Sorry, that's going on the hamburger style card base. And we're going a little bit in from the right side, a little over 1/4 inch. Okay, this piece is going to come between these 2, so it's going to go like that. See how it's making it look longer? By stretching it. Let's stamp on this first though. We'll bring in our C-size block and our word Merry Christmas. And again, we're going to use the black ink. And I'm going to use the word Christmas because it's nice and straight to eyeball and make sure that I am stamping parallel. Sometimes it might help if you have a very light colored surface to put a dark paper underneath your piece, and then you can see a little bit better. There is our Merry Christmas. We're going to put some adhesive on the back side here. In fact, we're going to put it on the back side of all the edges, because on the top edge, we're going to add this green layer, covering up that little circular part. And on the bottom edge, we're going to add this piece here. And then again, just adding extra adhesive over the back side of all those pieces. We're going to lie this flat, no dimensionals, onto our card. And then for this piece, we're just going to go ahead and tape it down flat. If you happen to lose this little center part here, that is okay. I'll just pop it out there to show you. Oh, and I got a smudge there. Oopsie. So that gets placed down flat. We're going to add these little strips here along the side. So let's go ahead and add some adhesive along there. It might be easier to use the glue dots from the kit than the seal on that. And we're going to add one kind of between the two bottom ho-ho-hos. My adhesive went over the edge a bit. And then using something as a guide just to make sure that we're adding our strip evenly. You can also use your grid paper. We're just going to tuck that over here. Grid paper is very helpful. And then we'll cut off the excess. The eraser helped. Okay, and then this piece is just going to get added with the mini dimensionals from the kit. And because it's twine, you can pretty much manipulate it to be where it's going to sit the best. There we go. And this card, all we need to do is add one of the glue dots from the kit. And I'm placing that up towards the top of that circle, pressing it in, peeling off the backing. And then I'm taking my fingernail, or you could use the take your pick tool or your snips, and just kind of giving it a bit of a roll so it's a little skinnier. And then setting my twine right in there like that. Now on the inside of each of these cards, this is where the extra crumb cake comes in. So you can add a layer onto the inside of each of those. Now this fifth card seems pretty simple, but I have to tell you, it's pretty hard to line up that ho-ho-ho over the top of this ho-ho-ho. We're going to give it a go though. So we're going to take our ho-ho-ho stamp, and you can use it in the color that comes in this kit, or you can use the black, which is what I'm going to do here. Either way, but there's not a lot of room in between the lines of this image to see where you are heading when you bring it straight down. So you'll want to be really careful to hover and peek and hover and peek, and just keep on lifting it up to see if you're coming down straight on top of your words. And then you just pray that you get it in the right spot. Because again, you can't see those crumb cake letters on the tag coming through until right before you hit the tag, because the lines are so close. And that looks good. So there we go. We got lucky. All right, and then we're going to use these other two pieces for the rest of the decoration on the card. For this one here, we're going to use it as if it's a strip of designer paper. You can place it wherever you want, but we're going to use this edge here along the right edge of the card. I sort of liked it a little bit lower, like this. And if you want to, you can just take and tap your card that way and make sure that it's flat. Both of those are flat. All right, so next we're going to attach the hat to the ho-ho-ho layer. I'm just going to put adhesive along the bottom, connect it like this so that they're attached like that, and then we'll take our dimensionals. And because I am definitely loving the big dimensionals, and I know I'm going to run out of the small ones, I grab the big ones every so often. And we're going to add those pieces like this, a little bit tilted, and you can take and add your crumb cake layer on the inside of that card too. So there's another card that's finished. The next card is going to be using this tag, these iridescent-y snowflakes, and the Happy Holidays. So let's bring in our card base. This one is another hot dog style card base. We're going to use this one here. We're just going to tape this piece down. Now again, you can pop out the middle or you can leave it there if you want. If you leave it there, you'll want to put adhesive over the whole back side here so that it stays in place. This is just going to get added to the middle of the card, all centered. Now, one thing I want to note is I didn't put adhesive all the way up to the edges because I'm going to do a little bit of tucking. This piece can get added with mini dimensionals. I'm going to use 3 because it's a bit longer of a strip here. Then this one's going to get added down here. This little snowflake is going to get cut in half. And we're just going to go, again, corner to corner, not tip to tip, if you know what I mean. And I'm doing it with the scissors because we're just going to tuck it. We're going to flip them over, all of the snowflakes. In fact, we're only using 2. This one we're saving for another one, so just set that aside. And we'll just add either a glue dot from the kit, or we can use our Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue, which again I've put into this precision tip bottle. Get this picked up, and we're going to tuck this one underneath so it's peeking out here from the bottom corner. This one's just going to get added. Oopsie. Don't grab that other one yet. This one's going to get added up here like that, and then this one will get tucked under the right side of the tag. Like that. And don't forget your inside layer on that card. Okay, let's do another black base card. Okay. So for this one, we're going to bring in this circle and these 2 tags. We're going to use the very, very large stamp, this one, and we'll mount it onto our D-size block. We're going to stamp that in the center of our circle with the ink color that comes in your kit, Cherry Cobbler. Now for a large stamp that has a solid section on it, I like to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat. I've marked mine because I can pierce on them and I can stamp with them. When you're using totally clear photopolymer stamps, it's good to have a little cushion underneath, especially when it comes time to use a stamp that has a very solid image. Now we'll press that, and we'll press it evenly, no rocking, just press it down into the firm foam of this Stampin' Pierce mat. Lift it, peel this off, and now you have a very nice even look on that piece. And we're going to add dimensionals to the back. I'm going to add dimensionals to the top and bottom-ish side on here, and then one over here, so at least I have 3. You could also put one in the middle, but 3 on a large piece like this should give it some stability. And then I'm going to place this in the bottom right, where the words North Pole and Express Delivery look like they are going in the right direction. You know, they're not tipped or anything. These 2 pieces here, I'm just going to put adhesive on the back side, just a strip, and we're going to add one. Let's add the first one, the top one first. So we'll add this one tucked in like so, and this one so it's kind of on top, coming out a little bit further like that. So it looks like this thing has little flags coming behind it, gives the appearance of motion. Okay, that one's done. Of course, we'll add the crumb cake layer on the inside. Let's grab this next one and our black strip that we had cut earlier, and we're going to take our black strip And we're going to add that about 2 inches from the bottom of the card. So on your grid paper here, the inch side, you're going to count down 8 squares, place the bottom edge of your card there, and then you can take and place this right at that level. So this is 2 inches higher up. Next, we're going to stamp. We're going to use the cherry cobbler ink and stamp the Merry Christmas inside this circle piece. We're also going to stamp with that cherry cobbler ink a couple candy canes. We're going to use this Merry Christmas as a guide. It's going to be about 3/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch away from the right edge. We're going to ink this up. We're going to hover it right above the Merry Christmas M, pull this away, and we're going to stamp it down, sort of kind of straight up. And then we're going to ink it up. We're going to hover it again, pull this away, and we're going to stamp again. So it's about at that spot. Now we're stamping over the black cardstock layer, and there's going to be a slight gap where that layer connects with the crumb cake, but it's okay because we're covering that up with our circle. This piece will go here, but before we do that, we're going to add 20 inches of twine. So we're just going to use our grid paper to measure. Our grid paper is 16 inches across, and then we need another 4 inches, 20 inches of twine. We'll open this, take and tie it in a knot this time, not just an overhand thing, but make sure I have the same amount on each side, same amount of twine. Tie it in a knot. Then I'm going to tie a bow. You see how my bow is wanting to angle this way? Because it's twine, I'm just going to flip it. There we go. Now it's angled this way instead. We're going to add this with 2 dimensionals, but we're going to place the dimensionals directly onto our black strip layer so that our twine isn't affected. We can still move the twine back and forth on our card. We're going to add this like so, and then we're going to take and open up the card, kind of give it a curve, and we can take and move the twine so it's closer now to our Merry Christmas. Ta-da! Our last card involves this tag here. We're going to bring the red top of the tag, and we're going to bring it right to the 2-inch mark and then go up just a smidge, because that way we're cutting right between these words. So we're going to stretch out the tag again. We're also going to bring in this piece and one of our snowflakes. We're going to stamp Joy in the middle of this piece here. So I'm going to lay it on top of a darker piece of cardstock so I can see it better. And now we can add these pieces with just regular adhesive or the glue dots in your kit. This time I think I'm just going to go right over the top of that circle piece that didn't fall out yet. That's how you secure it. You just put the adhesive right on the back side of it. We're going to angle this a bit, and we want to make sure that our pieces will flow together like this way. You know, the edges are going in the right direction. But I'm going to lay this between them, and you can see it looks like I need to hike up this one a bit more. So I'm going to shimmy it and bring it up a little bit more so there's less of a gap. And now we can press them down flat. This is going to go on top with dimensionals. This is a super simple card. That's going to go right through like that. And then this piece is going to go up on a dimensional. one of the tiny ones from the kit. And that's going to get centered right at the top here, like so. And that is another finished card. Now, I want to tell you, with these finished cards, we used crumb cake and basic black. And all the basic black cards would then require a lighter colored layer on the inside. But you could bring in some fun colors like mint macaron. It's beautiful with these glitter paper cards. Now you don't need a color on the inside of the crumb cake one, but it just gives it a finishing touch if you add another contrasting color layer. Or you could use basic white. Here's another one with some mint on the inside, just because we have a hint of that color here. This one, I used sweet sorbet. So it's the lighter of the two reds. So sweet sorbet is another coordinating color. This one I just stuck with the crumb cake. Now do you see this up here? That's because I also added a little bit of an embellishment. I brought in the festive pearls and added that to 4 cards. So for this one I added a gold festive pearl. For this one, which has sweet sorbet also on the inside, I added 5 of the redder festive pearls along here. On this one, which I have the mint macaron on the inside because of the ribbon that you'll see, or the twine that you see there, I added gold again, 3 of them. And then on this one, which has mint macaron on the inside, I added quite a few, just 6 various colors, all 4 of them. Actually 3 of them. I didn't use the gold. I used the silver, this bluish green color, and then the red kind of spraying out from the back. So it gives it even more of a look of motion. So I just added 2 other colors of cardstock for the inside layers, and then these festive pearls for an extra embellishment. And now my 9 cards, which again I would multiply by 4 to get 36, will be my Christmas cards ready to go. The boxes that the Paper Pumpkin kits come in sometimes are exclusive and very unique. They're not like the regular reddish orange boxes. This one is unique, and so I decided we could try a project using this, and I'm going to make an advent calendar type of project. It's little envelopes inside of a box. So we're going to decorate the outside. We're going to decorate the inside flap here. I've removed all of the pieces from my kit, which I'll just stick into an extra manila envelope or a Ziploc or something like that. You're going to need a couple sheets of cardstock. For this one, I'm going to demonstrate with the shaded spruce color, which is one of the coordinating colors of the kit, but I also have a cherry cobbler version. We're going to be decorating with both the greens and the red pieces, so either color would work great. And we'll start by cutting a little holder that's going to go on the inside of the box, a holder for our envelopes. This is probably the hardest part about the whole thing. So if you can do this, you're good. We're going to cut this piece 11 inches long, which it already is this way, and we're going to cut it to just under 6 1/4. So 6 inches is here, 1/4 inches is here, 6 1/4, and then we're going to come back 1/16 of an inch, and we're going to cut. This is scrap to be used somewhere else. Then we also need a piece that is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So because I typically cut my 4 1/4 pieces this way to make card bases, we'll just cut 4 1/4 here, and then in this direction we'll again go to the 6 1/4, come back 1/16 of an inch, and that will be this piece. So all of these could be used elsewhere, but you're going to need these pieces because you have to extend this. The 12-inch cardstock that we have would not be long enough because you can see we need beyond 12 inches. The first score line that we're going to make is at 1/2 of an inch, and we're going to make all these score lines parallel to the shortest, or the 6 1/4 inch section, because on this one it's not the shortest, but parallel to this length here. We're going to go to the 1/2 inch mark and score. And then we're going to flip it around because it's much easier to hold on to, plus there are measurements going in this direction that don't go in that direction. And we're going to score at 2 1/2 inches. So we're going to move it to the 2 1/2 inch mark. and score. Then we're going to move to the 3 3/4 inch mark and score. And then we're moving out to the 6 1/2 inch mark. So 6 1/2, score. And now at this point, we're going to go 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. So if we were at 6 1/2, 1/4 inch brings us to 6 3/4. A 1/2 inch brings us to 7 1/4. Then we need 1/4 inch, brings us to 7 1/2. 1/2 inch brings us to 8. 1/4 inch brings us to 8 1/4. 1/2 inch brings us to 8 3/4. 9 inch, 9 1/2, 9 3/4, 10 1/4, 10 1/2. For this piece here, we're going to score, add 1/2 inch. We're using this side of the trimmer. We'll keep going on this side for a while. 3/4 inch, 1 1/4 inches, and now we're going to flip it around. The next measurement will go to 1 1/2. Then we have 2 inches, 2 1/4, 2 3/4, 3 inches, 3 1/2, and 3 3/4 inches. Because the score lines are pretty much symmetrical on this piece, either end will be the one that we can connect to our long piece that we just did. This connection will go here or here, it doesn't matter, but the 2 1/2 inch edges, this one and one on this piece, are going to overlap each other. You can see the pattern there. 1/4 inch space, 1/2 inch space, 1/4 inch space, 1/2 inch space, 1/4, 1/2, 1/4, 1/2, 1/4, 1/2. And now it's time to make some folds. We're going to fold in this 1/2 inch here, fold in here, fold in here, and those are the folds that are going to go in that direction to make a triangular little holder base on the left edge. Okay, when we open up the box, this will be on the left, and you can see what we're doing here. These pieces are not the same length here, but when connected, they're going to form a little right triangle that's going to be held against the left side of the box. So let's go ahead and crease those, emphasize the creases with a bone folder. Then we're going to add a bit of adhesive, and I'm using the liquid adhesive because it's going to be a nice strong hold. We're going to open up our box. We're going to place this inside so that this edge here that we scored last is pushed right up against, and this whole section actually is pushed right up against the left side. And then we're going to bring this down and we're going to press it in place. And that's going to form our little triangular section there, you can see, and our right angle. And the glue will bond pretty quickly. And that was our goal, was to get a right triangle, and by forming it inside the box, we have our right triangle. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to make sure that that glue is pressing against. All right. Next, we're going to make some folds. And we're going to take that first fold that we came across, we're going to bring this all in towards it, and then we're going to come back onto the other direction with that second fold. So we've made kind of like a little lip here. Let me press this a little further. Okay, so there's like a little lip there that's going to hold onto an envelope like that. Okay, all right, do the same thing. That next fold is going to go this way, and then we're going to go back into this direction. So it's going to be like a fan fold, but the fan pieces, fan folds are not even. They're just creating these little tiny ridges all the way. And then you can take and scrunch it up onto itself. Make sure that all those creases are nice and crisp. And those are going to hold the envelopes that we're going to stamp soon. And each of those envelopes can just lay inside like that. Pretty cool. Okay, then we need to extend it a little bit more. So this piece is now going to fold back so it can connect with that one. So back and forth again. All right, so this can get set inside the box like this. And then we can just adhere this bottom section to the base. And why would we do that? Because we want to still be able to close the box. And the box has this little tab that needs to tuck in within the box here. And if this was over here, it would not be able to tuck. So we need to actually attach it so there's a small gap right in here. Now you have a choice. You could do that with the cherry cobbler color. You could do it with the shaded spruce color. So either choice is totally fine. Make it as close to, but not right up against, that edge. The rest of this can stay loose. It's totally fine to do that. And you can kind of push it to stretch it out a bit. So what do we put in here? The envelopes you've already had a peek at. So you can see I decorated these 3x3 envelopes. They are perfect for little note cards, but what we can put inside of them are candies. So you can just take and set Ghirardelli chocolates inside, or you could put lists, like little pieces of paper that say a certain Christmas story that you own, or a Christmas movie. That's what we like to do at our house. We either read a book or watch a movie each day. So kind of fun. But yes, you could put candy in here. The thinner the candy, the better. Ghirardelli has like 2 different thicknesses of chocolate candies. And the ones that aren't filled, like the dark chocolate or milk chocolate, just solid ones, work a little bit better, but you could do a variety and have, you know, thicker ones and thinner ones, and maybe even just ones without candy and notes or something, or money. But you want to, you know, pay attention. If you use a candy like the York peppermint candies, those are a little bit too thick. So to decorate my 3x3 envelopes, I used 4 colors plus the tuxedo black ink for the numbers. For the red ones, I used cherry cobbler and sweet sorbet. And for the green ones, I used mint macaron and shaded spruce. We'll just start with the lighter of the 2 colors. I'm inking up just the bottom portion of the candy cane image here. There's the top of the envelope. Turning it this way, hovering over the top, stamping it down so that the top portion of my candy cane does not interact with the envelope. And then, oops, and I didn't clean that one off. Let me clean it up. And we'll try that again. So inking up the bottom portion of the candy cane, stamping that on this side, and then we're going to ink up the darker portion, or the right side with the darker ink, the shaded spruce. So mint macaron and shaded spruce. We'll flip the candy cane this way to stamp it like that. And if you leave a big enough gap, you'll be able to put your numbers in there. So let's grab our black ink and our little tiny A-size blocks. So we're going to bring in a stamp set that you would buy separately, obviously. It is called Alpha Best, and it has numbers and letters and these fun little shapes here that you can stamp onto. So if you stamped, say, like a light, very pale yellow little image like this, then you could stamp black numbers over the top, and you'd have this nice frame. And the frame matches this punch. So it's a little punch that fits all of those numbers and letters. We're not using the punch, but I thought I would point that out, that it coordinates really well. And when you buy them together, you save 10%. So we're going to open up our stamps, and we're going to pull out some numbers here. The numbers that we will need will be the 14, so we need a 1 and a 4. And then we also need the, I think it's 23. So a 2 and a 3. And I'll just flip all these over and pick them up directly with each block. So I did all the evens in the green and all the odds in the red. The only number that I don't have here is 25. And that's mainly because the envelope, even if it was this size, wouldn't fit in all the ridges. So instead, what you can do to keep it hidden is you could put whatever you want inside the envelope as long as it's flat, right? And then you could just tape it to the bottom of the box. So when the kiddos come down to their last ones, 23, 24, they're like, where's 25? And you can say, oh, it's right here. And that's the bigger envelope. It's going to be all exciting. So let's do some decorating for the inside of our box. We're going to add our hat to our ho 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 piece. We're going to stamp no peeking. Let's do that with our shaded spruce. You're going to have all 4 colors to choose from, or actually 5 colors with the black. No peeking. And we'll put it down a little bit because we're going to probably cover up portions of that circle. And then we'll just kind of layer them all together. Okay, let's add this to the inside of our box. And we're adding everything flat because that way if the envelopes come right up to the top, then we don't have to worry about that extra bulk. Let's close this and decorate the front. You'll want to create this project soon because December's almost here. I don't have enough of these Ghirardelli chocolates to fit into all the envelopes, so I'm just adding them to a few. It does lift them up a bit, which helps them to prop against each other a little bit better, because right now they're a bit flatter in the box. But these 2 envelope rows will sit side by side. They're snug, but they work. Another thing that you might want to consider is using this stamp here, the Open Me stamp, and stamping that on the back flap of each of the envelopes, just to add a little bit more design. And there we go. That was fun. Now that you've watched my video, I hope you can see that there is so much more to these kits than meets the eye. With just a few extra supplies and some imagination, you can go beyond and make so much more. Want to give these paper pumpkin kits a try? They're just $23.50 plus tax per month in the US. Shipping is included, you control which months you get your kits, and there's no commitment or obligation. By clicking on my personalized link below, you can start your subscription with me as your demonstrator. And you'll have access to my exclusive Paper Pumpkin project ideas too. Thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. To access Paper Pumpkin kit ideas that I'll share in the future, be sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and my website, because I share even more each month in other special blog posts. In fact, click on my website link below so that you can access the visual supply list and view close-up photos of all that I've shared today. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.